Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome to the Seek Outside podcast. It's Wednesday, May 28th. Glad you guys are joining us. We got a gear episode today, special gear episode. This is a new thing. Now that we have the YouTube channel up and running, you can expect some more of these from us. What we're going to be doing is when we drop a new piece of gear, we're going to kind of chat in here, go through the specs, kind of like what we have typically done when we release a new product. The only difference is going to be that we have the video component. So if you're listening just to the podcast, I highly encourage you to go watch on YouTube. I'm going to be inserting a bunch of clips from the field, as well as going through some of the specs and features on the new Wetlands 10,000 bag today. So go to the YouTube, subscribe, like and subscribe. We're not doing the DST giveaway this week. That'll be next week on the standard episode. We got Drew Miles coming on the podcast. So we're going to talk about that then, and we're going to do the DST stuff. Today is strictly gear. Highly encourage you to go check out the YouTube channel and watch us do the deep dive on the Wetlands pack. Now, if you're looking for something shorter than this long form podcast, we do have a quick overview video that is about 4 minutes, kind of going over some of the main key points of this bag, not a super deep dive into how you can use it and some of the more nuanced features. But if you're just looking for a quick overview, we will drop that link down below here so you can go check that out. If not, stick around. We're going to go through this brand new backpack that we just dropped today, and let's get into it.
Welcome to the Seek Outside podcast.
And you think that's bad? You're Ryan on the phone in the office.
Some people are just wired that way.
All right, guys. The Wetlands 10,000. You read that right. This is a 10,000 cubic inch pack here. Giant. As you can see, I'm 6'2". This thing's up to my chest. It's probably the biggest backpack out there that has an actual frame that you can actually haul stuff with. I mean, there might be some like sacks that are made for, like, I'm just thinking of like the bags that they put soccer balls or footballs in. This is nothing like that. This has a beefy frame, very durable materials, but it's huge. I mean, honestly, like, I could probably just step inside this thing. I think I can. Yep. Yeah, I can step inside this thing. Shoot, if you're search and rescue, you might even be able to use this thing as a person hauler. But no, just for size reference, I mean, you can tell that this thing's giant. That's probably the first thing that sticks out to you here about the Wetlands, as I almost trip over. Yeah, 10,000 cubic inches is no joke. Now, I think first we're going to go into some of the specs, and then I'm going to get into like some of the use cases, some of the things that I've used this pack for, some of the things that you can use it for, just to kind of paint the picture in your mind and let you decide if this is a pack that's right for you, if it's something that you could use in the future, or if it's something that you don't think that you would use, but you just want to check it out. We welcome all inquiries. Before we get going, for anybody that doesn't know, which I'm sure most of you guys do because you're listening to the podcast, you're probably aware of our brand here. But if you don't, we have an awesome customer service team. If you have any questions about any product, anytime, ever, Monday through Thursday, we are open 8 to 4. That's Mountain Standard Time. Give us a call. Myself, Owen, who's not here today, he's out doing some mountain biking stuff for his other job. He's a awesome mountain biker. Anybody go check out Sendy Luhu. Shout out. But you'll talk if you call in. You might talk to one of us. You might talk to Connor, the producer here. But just wanted to put that out there. If you have any questions, especially about this pack, because it is so different, give us a call and feel free to ask whatever you want. So, all right. Enough of that. Let's do the deep dive here. So, yeah, 10,000 cubic inches, huge. One of the things that's very different about this pack than basically any of our other backpacks is it's actually not waterproof. This is the least waterproof pack that we make, and that's on purpose. So what this fabric is, and I'll insert a little video here so that you can kind of see a little bit closer, but this is actually a breathable waterproof mesh. So very similar to like some of the like pool furniture, some of the lawn chairs that you might see. Just think of some of those like almost like meshy plastic feeling fabrics. It's close to that. It's not that similar though. They actually use this for storm shelters. So like people down in the South will put this over their pool room to keep debris from like when it gets super windy blowing into their pool. So what you can gather from that is that it is actually very abrasion resistant, very puncture resistant. This fabric is so on all of our other packs, most companies measure abrasion resistance by what's called a Tabor cycle. It's basically a machine that takes two pieces of sandpaper. They grab one of these threads, put it in between those two pieces of sandpaper, and see how many times it takes for that fabric to be broken down completely. And that's the measure. So like you'll see like 4,000 cycles is like ultra. So that's 4,000 times that they rubbed the essentially sandpaper together until it broke. This fabric doesn't go by the same type of testing. I don't know why that is, but it's a very similar test. It's just measured in rubs instead of cycles. So if you see on the website, it'll say, I think it's like 300,000 rubs, which is insane, but that's what it means. We just couldn't find another way to define it. We were looking for the Tabor. The specs that they sent us didn't measure it via Tabor cycles. So that's why you'll see that on there, the 3,000 rubs. But all that is to say that it's very abrasion resistant, very puncture resistant. So you can put this thing, you can throw it down. You have your nice expensive alpaca packraft in this thing. You throw it down on some jagged volcanic rocks. You don't have to worry about that getting punctured. I've had mine as mostly a decoy bag is primarily what I've used it for probably 2.5 years now. That's about as long as we've been testing it. And I put it through the ringer. Here we're hiking through like super thick stuff to get to the riverside, and no punctures, still in perfect condition. So a very durable material, and it's crazy. It's not that much more heavy than like Ultra, which is insane. But breathable, so air, water can pass through. It does have a few drain holes down here at the bottom. You might not be able to see, but they're right by this frame here. We put those in there so that, almost take down the whole building here. We put those in there so that, if you're putting decoys in there or you're pulling something fresh out of the water, when you first throw it in there, it's got the water kind of built up in the little cracks and crevices. Those drain holes are primarily for that. The fabrics allows air and water to pass through anyway. So in terms of like the drying out, it's not necessarily from the drain holes. It's more from just like the rest of the fabric, if that makes sense. So very permeable, allows things to pass through. But the cool thing is, because it's such a tight weave, it keeps everything cool in there. So it's like a shade cloth, just like I was saying with how the traditional use of this fabric. And I love that because you don't have to worry about, putting something in your pack that's super hot outside. You put something in your pack, you're walking around with it, and you pull that thing out like a boat, for example, like an inflatable water sport craft. They get hot, and that's not good for those materials. This fabric allows it to dry off, but also keeps it cool in there because it's shaded, kind of allows the airflow in there, which is, it's one of those other things that just makes it a little bit better for watercraft, for doing anything around the water. So breathable, shaded inside of there. It does have the waterproof zipper. This is a YKK. This is about as beefy a zipper as we can put on them. Now, I will say, given the context of what we're talking about here with how we're planning on using this thing, zipper maintenance is going to be super important with this pack, right? Zippers, the worst enemy of a zipper is sand and especially mud, because that stuff gets inside these teeth, and you just think about it like if you have a little pebble stuck in between one of these teeth and you're pulling this zipper up and down. Every time that little stone in there is kind of breaking down these teeth just a little bit more. And that's how, over time, that's how you get to the point where, you know, the zipper splits, or it doesn't zip, or it doesn't unzip. So zipper maintenance, just take a toothbrush with you, kind of like if you're familiar with packrafting. You always just have that little toothbrush, the little wire toothbrush that you keep with you to kind of mess with this zipper. That's a good piece of advice for tents as well. Just keep a toothbrush, clean those zipper teeth out. It's going to save you a lot of hassle in the future. Now we do, if anybody doesn't know, we do all our own repairs here. So you can send, if you do have a zipper that breaks on you, you send it into us. We'll replace that thing for you very cheap. You know, most zipper repairs are less than $50. So, but might as well try to prevent that by keeping tabs on this zipper here. Does have a couple hold handles. So this bag is designed to go on our Revo frame here. So think about this as almost just like a souped up big goshawk or uniweep pack. Very simple. There's not any pockets in there. This one doesn't even have side pockets, but it hooks up to your Revo panel just like any of the other Revo bags. If we have enough requests for an integrated, we might make it, but I think just for right now, we're going the breakaway route. But it does have these carry handles so that it just makes it easy to haul this thing around, especially with heavy stuff in there. And what I like to do, especially because, like I've been saying, I've used this primarily as like a duck hunting decoy bag. So I'll put all my decoys in there, and I'll just leave this thing in the back of my truck from October to January. And then I'll take my frame off, detach the frame. I can use that thing for any other hunts that I'm doing, any other trips. You just pop the frame off, leave the bag in there, and then, you know, having the carry handles makes it easy to move around and stuff like that. Full length zipper is great for being able to put your raft and decoys, and, you know, it's easy access to whatever heavy stuff you have in there. It does have all the attachment loops that a goshawk would, so you can use this thing with a Merlin, a Talon, top lid, or a lot of the water sport attachments, whether it be like a dry bag or you know, some little possibles pouch or something like that. A lot of them that are designed around water sports have the gatekeeper clips. So it just makes this thing super modular. You know, you could put your load shelf across the bottom to kind of support it a little bit more. I mean, there's just so many modular options here. So that's nice. It's compatible with all of our accessories, whether that be the Mesa hip pack. That's honestly what I love. Like, if you want to hear my setup especially for duck hunting, basically, I have this bag, the Revo frame. I have a hip belt pocket here on one of the sides, and then I have our water bottle holster on the other side. And then what I'll do is I'll put that Mesa top lid, the hip pack on top here. So that's 450 cubic inches. And it actually makes a great blind bag. So it's got the Ultra Grid fabric, which is highly water resistant. You don't have to worry about, you know, something Cordura having the water soak through. But I'll just throw that. I'll strap it across the back here, and it works as a great blind bag. You can also use a Merlin if you wanted to, just to keep some of that stuff separate, which is great. It just adds to the capacity, you know, if you don't want to put anything in there. So I kind of want to share with you guys kind of the development story of this bag, because it is kind of unique, and it was kind of like a seed that we didn't think was going to go anywhere, that now it's a product. And this is kind of some insight to the development, the R&D testing that we do with our new products. So a couple years back, we decided that we wanted to do like a backcountry duck hunt. Around here, there's lots of places that you can hike into a couple miles, whether it be lakes or whether it be the rivers around here. most of the spots, if you want to get away from people, you got to hike. So we wanted something that would hook onto the back of the Revo frame that made hiking in not such a pain in the ass, right? Anybody that's ever duck hunted before, if you'd hauled around one of those decoy bags, they don't have any suspension. Some of them have a crappy hip belt, but they don't have a frame. They don't have an adjustable torso length. They don't have any of the stuff that to kind of ease the suffering of hauling, 100 pounds of decoys on your back. So we had like a sample of this fabric here, and we just decided, we were like, hey, let's try to make something that's essentially like a goshawk that we can put on the back of the bag. So we did that, went on a couple trips with it, used it duck hunting a lot, and it was kind of just one of those things. It's like a one-off. I don't know if we're gonna do anything with it, so didn't, kind of shelved it for a while, and then we came back to it and we were like, you know what? Let's try to take this thing camping. So what we ended up doing was we put a bunch of decoys in the bottom, and then we put all of our camp stuff. There was like 3 of us. So we each had like 4 decoys in the bottom. We had a couple silhouettes in between the bag and the frame. And we had all of our camp stuff on top. And then we were able to attach our pack rafts, because we didn't have a dog on this specific trip, to the back here. So we compressed it. So we did this trip, and we were like, man, this is actually like pretty crazy that you can carry all this stuff in one bag. And it's actually not too bad. I mean, if you're hiking 2 miles, obviously if you have a big bulky bag that's hanging off the back, that if it's, this thick, it's going to be somewhat uncomfortable. But if you have a frame, it's going to be a lot more comfortable. And if you have a good load lifting system, it's going to be even more comfortable. So it kind of sparked our interest to start trying to find this fabric to make a couple duck bags out of it. And it was mostly just for the guys around the shop. So we ended up taking a prototype to Sheep Show, I think 2 years ago. And we set it up on the mannequin, just thought, this is almost like a concept car, something so different from anything else out there. Maybe it'll get people to stop by, because at these shows, that's basically the game that you're playing. You're trying to grab people's attention with whatever you can. And we had a ton of people stopping by, and they're like, I will buy this right now. And I think part of it was up in Reno, so close to the California. Duck hunting is big there. We had a bunch of decoys in there. But anyway, we came home and we were like, all right, let's make some. Well, we couldn't find the fabric. It took us probably a year and a half to find the source of the exact fabric that we wanted. And that's kind of where we're at now. We finally found it. We found a constant supply, and we designed this thing. And I think we're pretty stoked with it. It's just so different from anything else out there. But along that testing process, we started taking it out more and more for different things. In the summer, we got a couple rivers near here that you can hike up, packraft down, and like to do that sometimes. And what we started doing was throwing our waders, all of our fishing gear in here, the pack rafts, hiking up 3-4 miles, and then we'd pull all that stuff out, float down, do it again. And it helps you kind of cover. And in the summer, it's all like water. What's better than, floating down the river in the summer? So we found that as a use. We're like, oh, this is a great water sport thing. I'll insert the video here too. The other day, we just went to the river, like not even hiking in, just to hang out by a river and do some paddle boarding and kayaking and stuff like that. Well, I was able to put like 3 folding chairs in here, a couple tarps, a bunch of poles to set the tarps up as like our sunshade. We're using a DST, 2 rafts, one of my alpaca, portable, alpaca raft, and then kind of a shitty Walmart pack raft in there. Not to mention a couple blankets. It was crazy. Like, you could fit everything in there. And the great thing was, at the end of the day, we didn't have to like sand some of the sand can build up in the bottom here, but a lot of it kind of drains out. So you set everything up and you got all that sand everywhere. Well, you put it back in the bag and some of that sand drains out, not to mention all the water drains out. And it keeps everything nice and clean in there. And it minimizes the the cleanup that you have when you get home, which is awesome. And it keeps everything, you don't have to worry about water building up in the bottom and making everything smell bad. So that's kind of the development of the pack here and the story that goes along with it. Now, some use cases for this thing. I'm sure if you're watching, you kind of already have some ideas of what you could use it for. The obvious ones that we've already talked about: duck hunting, goose hunting. You can fit, basically in this bag, you can fit about 18 decoys in there. I like to do like 12 Magnum mallards and one or two big goose floaters for the river. You can also strap like robo ducks to the side with the compression straps. The other good thing about like having the roll top here is it's not just limited. The capacity is not limited at all, because if you have like some paddles for a raft, or you have a robo duck that you want to stick up above here, you don't like the functionality of the pack doesn't depend on closing this roll top. So you can just leave this thing open, clip it around the side here, and have whatever you want sticking up out of the top. So it just maximizes the capacity there. And obviously you don't have to worry about water getting in there, because it's not a waterproof pack. Although the fabric does wick water, like in a small little downpour, little rain. It does a pretty good job of keeping water out. Now, obviously you don't want to be going up to Alaska without all your stuff in dry bags, but that is another thing that you can do if you need extra capacity. Just put all the gear that needs to be safe from water in dry bags, put everything else just loose in there, and you're good to go. But so yeah, duck hunting, I love it for fishing, rafting, anytime if you're like hiking up to a lake and you need to throw your inflatable watercraft in the back. Even something like one of the crappy heavy ones that you get at Walmart, you can easily throw that in here. It's going to make it so easy to carry around. You're not limited to just like the ultralight pack rafts, which is great. Now, hunting, like big game hunting, is interesting. Now, I personally haven't taken this out big game hunting, but we have done some tests with this, just on like breathability and how cool things are in there. So, and it's mostly been with materials. Haven't done it with meat yet. I guarantee you it would be the same kind of thing. But you can actually use this instead of game bags here. The reason is, it kind of is just a heavy duty game bag. So it allows air to pass through there. These holes are small enough you don't have to worry about like mosquitoes and wasps and stuff getting in there. And the fact that it's shaded in there, it cools the meat down. So you can almost use this instead of game bags. And then the great thing is you take this thing home, power wash it real quick, and your pack's clean. So you can definitely use it for hunting. And I think it would be a great one, especially you get a couple compression straps here. I mean, you can throw hides. I think it would be great for like trapping, anything with water associated with it, or anything that you will need to just like clean the pack out super easily. I mean, it works great for that because it's just super durable, very breathable. Things dry off quickly. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you the results of the test, but basically we did a couple tests out back here where we would just soak an item, whether it be decoys or, using a packraft or even a tent, stick it in there, put it out in the sun back there, and like within 20 minutes, things would be dry. So, but the good thing is it wouldn't be like super scorching hot. I mean, the Colorado sun, if you have a black backpack, things are going to get hot and melt in there. Things were significantly had a lower temperature inside than outside. So just a couple results for you on the testing there. One more thing to touch on here. So this is the Revolution frame, right? These hook up. So if you already have the Revo frame, just buy the pack bag only. I think it's like $200. The whole weight right here. So the pack bag, I guess the price is like $260 or something like that. But the pack bag is 2.8 pounds. The Revo frame is 2.9. Put them together, you're looking at like just over 5 pounds. So still very light for the capacity. But the good thing is I think this is kind of like the crown jewel, or not the crown jewel, but like it's the final piece, the infinity stone to the Revolution frame system. Because, I mean, it's truly an all-purpose frame now. You can go from the day pack version, where you have your Mesa top lid, maybe a Talon, or even just a Merlin. Throw that on the back there, you got your day pack. You have your Goshawk, you have your 4,800 cubic inch Goshawk, you have your 3 to 5 day backpack hunting, backpacking backpack. You can also get the Goshawk 6,300 for those longer trips if you're going out for 2 weeks or doing a fly-in hunt. You have your 6,300, and then you have the 10,000 that you can use for summer activities. Anything. This is kind of like just the all-purpose, whatever you don't want to use your regular pack for, you use this, and you have a true 4-season backpack frame system. So I think it kind of really helps the Revolution frame system. Just you get a little bit more out of it. So that is the Wetlands 10,000 cubic inch all-purpose pack here. I really encourage you guys to check it out on the website. And like I said at the beginning, if you have questions, comments, concerns, give us a call, 970-208-8108, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4. I know that this is something very different from what else is out there. So if you have questions, give us a call. But other than that, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. We got Drew Miles from Tricer coming on, and we're going to do the DST giveaway. So stay tuned. Enjoy your Wednesday.